Welcome to The Legend of Zelda, a rental service between realms, where Link isn't just saving the world, he's trying to survive housing insecurity. Because renting in America? It's like trying to solve a Zelda dungeon blindfolded. And just when you think you've found stability, here comes Ravio, bunny twink extraordinaire, barging into your house like, hey, I live here now. By the way, I'm gonna charge you for every single item you need to survive. Cool. Ravio isn't just a shopkeeper, he's the reason tenant rights exist. But this game is actually good. So good, in fact, that trying to get it ported off the 3DS would require a full-on ritual sacrifice to Shigeru Miyamoto himself. Light some incense, arrange your amiibo in a pentagram, and chant F-Zero GX Remake 3 times. Maybe then you'll have a chance. Let's dive into this dimension-hopping madness. Just make sure to lock your door before Ravio tries to make himself at home. We start a new save and name ourselves Markiplier, because why not? And get greeted by the usual Zelda drama. Ganon, Zelda screaming, and a late start. Gully, my little brother, is already on my case, and I'm just trying to smash some pots like any good Zelda hero. Gully then informs me of a bird statue save system. Cool, thanks. After meeting Foster Dad and the captain, who roast us for being late, we head to the sanctuary. Cue Dampe, the gravekeeper, who awkwardly hands us a sword and sends us to the tutorial dungeon. It's 3 rooms of here's how to swing a sword, but I'm grateful for the chance to break more pots. Next, we meet Yuga, the villain who looks like a clown and turns Ceres into a painting. Seriously, his evil laugh is the most theatrical thing about him. He calls us a worm, which, rude, I identify as Markiplier, thank you very much. And after charging at him, he casually kicks us aside and leaves. Enter Ravio. He drags us back to our house, uninvited, gives us his smelly bracelet, and then insists on staying. Classic twink behavior. Off to Hogan's Castle we go, where Impa looks like a banana in a jumpsuit, and Zelda has had dreams about us. I mean, who hasn't? She sends us off to find an old dude named, how the fuck do you say his name? Fucking Somalian? What was Miyamoto on when he came up with that one? Zelda then gives us a shiny charm and sends us off to save the kingdom. Truly classic. Sahasrara, the ancient monk, gives us some cryptic advice about Yuga, but I'm more focused on messing with the chickens. I head to the Eastern Palace and immediately run into Ravio's sign. Great, now he's renting out my house? I march back home to have a landlord-tenant chat, but Ravio hands me a rental bow, acting like it's some kind of favor. He might want to start offering better perks if he plans on staying at my place rent-free. Bow acquired. We finally head out to the palace, where we meet some creepy statues, and Osvala, who flexes about owning Ravio's sand rod. I'm just trying to survive, man. After some classic Zelda puzzles and fights, yes, rolling balls are here, we grab the boss key and face Yuga. He turns Osvala into a painting and gets a bit too into my arrows. Seriously, this guy's a masochist. Yuga turns me into a painting and leaves me to figure out how to escape. Ravio's smelly bracelet again lets me merge into walls and save the day. Time to head to the House of Gales, but first, side quests. First up, I'm playing with some cocks. They're getting bigger and bigger. For my efforts, I get a heart container. Hell yeah. Oh, hey, witch lady. Enter Irene, a junior witch with a vibe between quirky bestie and please step on me. I'm taking her magic belt, which lets me fast travel. She dips and I grab the heart container I couldn't get before. I head to the waterfalls to figure out how to not drown. On the way, some shady guy bumps into me. Apparently, Miyamoto thinks shady people are just fat blondes. This shady dude stealing life-saving Ozempic from a queen. Life-saving in the sense that it helps her not feel like the average American. Zelda lore, folks. The green-skinned lady asked me to get her meds back, so off to Kakariko Village I go. On the way, I snag another heart container behind my house. I eventually catch up to the thief, who sold the stolen Ozempic to the local merchant. He gives me the Pegasus boost as a consolidation prize, so now I'm zooming around like it's Mario Kart. I buy the Ozempic back and a bottle, return it to the queen, and bam, she's back to normal. For my heroic deed, I get the Zora flippers, letting me swim around like David Hasselhoff in the SpongeBob movie. Another heart container? Don't mind if I do. Finally, I make my way to the House of Gales, but get cock-blocked by Ravio again. I return home to find he's converted it into a shop, taking my bed and furniture in the process. I buy a few things, then head out to tie up some loose ends. Next up, the Maimai Cave. Turns out this slippery squid abandoned 100 of her kids and expects me to babysit. I don't have time for that, but I grab a few on my way. Afterward, I meet a homeless bird lover under the bridge. He's got Android 16 vibes, but less murderous. He hands me a bottle with zero hassle, which I immediately use to stock up on fairies. Time to hit the dungeon. I start by pushing some buttons to activate fans, fight rats, bats, and flaming skulls that drop a key when defeated. I use the key to activate a huge fan that lifts me to the second floor. I finally stumble into the mid-boss, flaming lizards. I use the tornado rod to snuff out their fire and send them back to Jurassic Park. On the third floor, I deal with more rats and fire skulls before reaching the boss chamber. And what's waiting for me? A Beyblade with an eyeball. This thing's spins like it's auditioning for BattleBots. Knock its eye and it grows taller and more annoying. After a few tries and definitely not falling off the edge, I take it down. It drops the Pendant of Wisdom, which is a joke considering when I was a kid, I launched Beyblades in the special ed classroom like I was in Mad Max. Time to head up Death Mountain, but oh wait, the rocks are blocking my path. Funny how there are no Gorons around just to eat rocks for me. Maybe they got erased from the timeline, or maybe they just saw a mountain and said, nah, not our problem. To clear a path, we need the Power Glove. A little further up, I find some guy casually throwing stones around like it's arm day at the gym in his busted up old house. I talk to him for all of 2 seconds and he just hands over the gloves. We head into the caves, which are crawling with wormy caterpillar monsters who just love to block my progress. Outside, I run into some weird little dinosaur-like creatures that run around like they're Tektites are also here. Climbing Death Mountain feels like Minecraft on hardcore mode, dipping in and out of caves, fighting boulders and praying I don't die. Near the Tower of Hera, there's a ledge I can jump down and grab a piece of heart. With that in hand, we're ready to tackle the tower. Time to head inside. Welcome to the Tower of Hera, where every floor is a cruel obstacle course made by someone who clearly wants us to suffer. The first floor is easy. Just flip switches like you're playing a broken game of Simon Says. Then, we meet the spring-loaded bouncy boys on the second floor. These little nightmares launch you around like they're trying to play Pong with you. We step outside where birds dive bomb us while we're stuck on moving platforms. Finally, the shield's not just for show, it actually helps here. After some trial and error, we reach the skeletal boners, who crumble easier than dollar store cookies. Then it's Muldrum, the OG knockback god. The fight's the same, hit his tail and avoid getting yeeted off the platform, but this time, your progress doesn't get reset when you fall. After a few more falls and hits with the hammer, Muldrum's done for. We've got the Pendant of Power. Now, onward to the Master Sword. It's time to grab the shiny stick of villainous death. First, we swing by home, where Ravio's upgraded from Rentoid to Salesman. Now, you can actually buy his overpriced gear. Yay for capitalism, I guess. We get to the Lost Woods, which feels like wandering through a stunner's daydream. Inside, it's time for the ultimate minigame. Don't lose track of the ball with your eyes. The pattern's probably been etched into Miyamoto's napkin drafts, because it never changes. Grabbing the Master Sword, we fast travel home, but Irene's gone. Kind of odd, but whatever. Time to save the princess. We bust through the seizure-inducing barrier and make our way into the castle. Guess we're going upstairs. Inside, we run into a small ball and chain guy and more guards. We finally reach the top just in time to witness Yuga cornering Zelda. He turns Zelda into a beautiful painting. The music? A distorted version of Zelda's lullaby that gave me the chills. Yuga bails, leaving us to fight more guards. We keep climbing, and when we reach the top again, Yuga's gooning to his handiwork. Time to fight. The music chants his name like he's a final boss in a FromSoft game. He merges with the walls and sends out clones, and we have to guess which one's the real Yuga. A few rounds of that and he's toast. He runs off to the Dark World where we get another cutscene. Yuga's with all the sages in a summoning circle calling upon Ganon, like the original Pig Ganon from Zelda 1. Using the Triforce of Power, he becomes jacked as hell. He beats us down, and just when all hope seems lost, Princess Hilda of Lorule shows up to save the day by pinning Yuga down. She teleports us away. We black out, waking up in the workshop belonging to the blacksmith and his wife of this world. Now in Lorule, we've got plenty more to explore. Right off the bat, we hear a baby Mai, a weather vane, and a bomb chucker. My brain's already overloaded. I just booted the game back up. We grab the baby faster than CPS removing a child from a home, and take down the bomb chucker. We head to the village and bonk a tree for another baby. Unlike the light world, this village is full of ghosts and guards with shields. I remember this from when I was a wee lad using my 3DS browser to look up a walkthrough. A narrow path, despair to thieving. This kid's impressed with my vocal skills and lets me in. No big deal. Inside, we find a beautiful babe locked in the jail below. Since we're the hero, I guess it's time to save her. To the left, we have some block pushing puzzles, combined with wall merging. Easy as cake. Next room. A creepy blue creature, looking like it's about to make a move, on Link's sweet twink ass. But we defeat him with a few swings. We fall downstairs, walk across a wall, and hit a switch to throw a bomb onto a track. Now, it's time for the escort mission. She calls my wall merging ability creepy and asks if she can learn it too. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. We head to the next room, and here come more of those rapey looking blue guys. Seriously, they just keep spawning like bad habits. We push a grate over so she can help unlock doors, swim to a lever to drain the water, and guess what? More blue guys. How many of these things things are there? We find a piece of the Master Ore, which we need to upgrade our sword once we get one more. We backtrack to the entrance to open the boss door with the big key. She gets locked out. The bosses are definitely the best part of this game. This guy's a red demon with a sword and shield, and the fight's a blast. You keep merging onto his shield until he says screw it and starts swinging his sword. He does an iconic spin and kills me, making me use one of my fairies. He splits his head off, and I just damage boost to finish him off. Easy win. The thief girl shows us the way to the painting, which is conveniently in some random abandoned house. It's Asfola, and we free him from his prison painting. We get teleported to an angel room, where Asfola is shocked to be here. Now I can use the sand coffin. Back to the light world we go through the wacky portal, and we're greeted by Sahashalashala, who thought we were dead. Apparently, he's been standing here for hours, or days? Zelda time logic is anyone's guess. He says he's scattered rifts all over Hyrule to make traversing between worlds easier for us. I'd make a joke, but this is genuinely useful. Thanks, old man with the impossible to pronounce name. Before heading out, I restock my bottle and run into the blacksmith's wife, who's searching for Gully. Turns out he just died? No big explanation, just dead. On the bright side, this somehow unlocks another item slot. Efficiency and tragedy. While we're in the neighborhood, we swing by what used to be our home, now conveniently remodeled into Ravio's overpriced shop. We snag the sand rod and the bomb item for the next dungeon, because apparently, he's not done bleeding us dry. I make a pit stop at the Maimai Queen to drop off some of her kids and upgrade my shiny new toys. Finally, it's time to head to Lorule's sandy area. Hilda pops in, telling us a sage is in the desert, but Lorule doesn't have a desert. Thanks for the riddle, Hilda. After doing a challenge room for some rupees, it's back to the light world to find the desert she was talking about. Here, buff sand dudes straight out of a Pokemon fever dream ambush us, pulling them out of the sand, and it reveals they are absolutely jacked. We bomb a teleporter and go through it for a heart piece, hop between dimensions like a Zelda speedrunner, and finally make it to the desert palace. Miyamoto's obsession with chanting music makes a return, and the palace is crawling with rats, snakes, mummies, and hold on, a stack of oranges? That's the mini-boss? Miyamoto, are you okay? After that citrus showdown, we grab the Titan's Mitt, which lets us yeet big rocks out of our way. Animated tiles and killer ants that die in one hit. Truly groundbreaking. Thanks, Miyamoto. It's boss time. The arena is a sandpit that takes us into Lorule for a fight. The boss? A giant flower with creepy eyes inside its blossoms. I love the animation where Link falls into the sand. Comically easy. Just use the sand rod, mash A, and boom, it's toast. We grab the heart container and free Irene, the beautiful witch/Twitter user I may or may not want to smash. Before we can catch our breath, Hilda cuts in with a scene of her staring at Zelda's painting. It's weird. She mutters something about a happy ending for everyone. Totally not ominous or anything. Before tackling the next dungeon, we make a quick detour for some good old Hyrule baseball. It's a fun concept until you realize the controls feel like trying to eat soup with a fork. I didn't get the heart container prize, so I'll just wallow in the mediocrity and console myself with some Maimai I stumbled across instead. Moving on, we meet the bomb shop guy, who looks like he's 3 explosions away from having a full-on schizophrenic episode. He gives us a giant bomb, which is either a helpful tool or the setup for my eventual demise. After blowing up a few boulders for later, it's time to head to the Dark Palace. Ringing Irene's bell summons her voice, but not her. Yup, she's still haunting my brain. Get out of my head, Irene. Get out of my head. With that unsettling bit of psychic baggage, I grab some odds and ends I missed earlier. There's a heart piece and a few Maimai babies. You know, standard errands. After wandering, I finally find the portal to the Dark Palace, and Hilda is there with her usual ominous encouragement. Hurry up, Link, or the sage is doomed. I don't know why she's British. She also drops some lore about how the guards here used to serve Lorule Castle before becoming murder machines, who will sentence Link to death if caught. No pressure. Sneaking around feels less like a Zelda game and more like Metal Gear Solid. Sons of the exposition. Luckily, unlike Raiden, my wall merge powers turn me into a 2D escape artist. Like vanishing into a wall before someone asks if your commission work is AI generated. With my newfound ability to sidestep all accountability, I snag a heart container and casually bomb the dungeon entrance. Inside, total darkness. The kind that makes you feel like you're walking into a trap. Lantern out. Ah, much better now. The dungeon itself is basically Eastern Palace's edgy goth cousin. The first puzzle has us bombing windows to let the light in, which shines onto creepy all-seeing eyeballs. It's clever, but it makes me wonder if Lorule has an architect or just some guy who said, let's add eyes. Lots of eyes. Moving on, I discover platforms that only appear in the dark. Cool mechanic, but it makes me instantly regret lighting my lantern. Heading into the basement, I face some wholesome chonkers and navigate an invisible maze. Classic Zelda, making me question my life choices one puzzle at a time. After gathering the big key, I climb onto the second floor, grab some Master Ore, and then bomb every window like it's a rock concert in the 90s. The boss is a giant angry version of the chonkers we slaughtered earlier. He's understandably mad mad about me genociding his family, but I've got upgraded bombs and no guilt. The room goes dark and he runs around like a caffeinated toddler, and I keep turning the lights back on to wail on his glowing weak spot. Easy win. With the boss defeated, we save Goalie from his painting prison. He thanks us for rescuing him and restoring him to his normal life. Yeah, you're welcome, kid. To the blacksmiths we go to upgrade our sword. Oh wait, wrong world. There we go. We hand over the sword, and voila, our blade is now a badass crimson death stick. Before diving into the Swamp Palace, we need to make a pit stop to buy the ice rod and upgrade the hookshot, because preparation is key. Welcome to every Zelda fan's reoccurring nightmare, the water dungeon. This one's got all the charm of a soggy sock and the brain-melting puzzles to match. The entire gimmick here? Hookshot switches to raise and lower water levels while battling a constant urge to scream. Skipping past the mind-numbing details, we grab a couple of small keys and slide into the basement for a jolly old round of jellyfishing. The middle of the basement is where things start to heat up, or rather cool down, as we find the blue tunic, which makes Link look extra dashing and less flammable. Progressing upstairs, we discover a sneaky water level switch, snag the big key, and raise the platform hiding underwater to finally enter the boss room. The boss? A hulking pissed off blob of eyeballs. Step 1, pluck the eyeballs off like bad fruit. Step 2, make him angry enough to turn his singular eye green. Step 3, let him flail around stomping and shooting death beams while you casually obliterate him with your upgraded RGB Sword of Destruction. Number 1 victory royale. In the back room, we free the Zora Queen from her painting prison, and it's off to Lorule Field to collect more children. Apparently, we're moonlighting as Lorule's favorite Uber driver. While chauffeuring kids around Lorule, the blacksmith stops us. He eyeballs our shiny sword and says, "If you find 2 more master ore, I can soup this thing up further." Sounds like a plan. First stop, Lorule Cemetery. After hitting the checkpoint, we take a quick detour through the portal at the top for a heart piece in Hyrule. And no, I'm not saving that poor kid stuck to the wall. Oh look, it's Dompe. But now he's rocking a bold Thanos purple hue. Entering the cemetery dungeon, we're greeted by a chest containing 1 rupee. Thanks, Miyamoto. You shouldn't have. Seriously. Beyond that, the dungeon is a copy-paste job of Hyrule's version. Easy enough. Before moving on, we upgrade the fire rod and the ice rod for the challenges ahead. Onward to the Skull Woods. Popping out of the portal, Hilda tells us the Skull Woods strike fear into the hearts of the living. Honestly, the only fear I'm feeling is how washed out the area looks. It's like someone photocopied a Lisa Frank coloring book. Where's the vibrancy? The life? Someone grab me a hue slider and crank it up before this grayscale vacuum sucks the joy out of our pixels. Ah, that's much better. With some quick child rescues and a heart container in tow, we dive into the dungeon, and oh god, it's Mr. Hands. This grabby creep shows up throughout the entire dungeon to yoink you back to the start if you're too slow. He's like the hall monitor from hell. We rinse and repeat the fall in, climb out process until we land in front of the mid-boss. Mr. Hands scores a cheap grab. Honestly, it's humiliating. Finally, we snag the last master ore and a big old eyeball for a puzzle. Miyamoto, what's with you and eyeballs? Didn't optometrists traumatize you as a kid? Eyeballs solve puzzles, eyeballs are the bosses. It's like Link stuck in autonomy class. We face the dungeon's final baddie, a massive pulsating hand with an eyeball centerpiece. Naturally, he slaps, punches, and flails like a toddler denied dessert. But with all our health upgrades, it's a cakewalk. 1 squashed hand later, and we nab the heart container and free Ceres from her painting prison. It's time to upgrade our blade into its final form, the golden sword. It's so blindingly shiny, you'd think it came with a lens flare plugin, straight out of J.J. Abrams' personal copy of Premiere Pro. Upgrade in hand, we zip back to Hyrule to locate the portal to Lorule's Turtle Rock. On arrival, we're faced with yet another round of Find the Abandoned Kids. I don't know what Miyamoto's trying to tell us about parenting. After rescuing all 3 of the little idiots, they band together to form a living raft and ferry me to go into the dungeon. Is this gross? Efficient? I don't even know. Into the volcano we go. Turtle Rock loves the ice rod like a speedrunner loves exploits. The first room locks us in with some low-effort wizards who go down faster than the FPS in a Bethesda game. With their corpses cooling, we raised some platforms and snagged the Hylian shield. It's just a barrage of unlocking stuff until we finally hit the boss room. And the boss, a literal moving volcano, because sure, why not? But hold up, after you beat it down a bit, the real nightmare emerges. It's a turtle with a neck so long, it could cameo in The Land Before Time. Oh, and here's the kicker, it explodes. Eventually the walking disaster goes down and we grab the heart container before freeing Lady Impa from her portrait prison. 6 stages saved and 1 dungeon left. Hilda pops in with a pep talk about saving Lorule, but honestly, I'm just here to blow stuff up and look cool doing it. Off to the ice ruins. But first, we bomb an abandoned house to snag a bottle. Why? Because vandalism is the only law in Lorule. That, and property damage is just how Link says hello. Next, we play delivery boy, bringing milk to some random guy who's parched. Milk for thirst. Really? Enjoy your thick, creamy regret, dude. He hands over another bottle, claiming it's trash. Cool, your garbage is my treasure. After enslaving some fairies, as is tradition, it's time to head off to Death Mountain, where the local wildlife is more aggressive than the DMV line at 4:59 p.m. We fight our way up, hop into a janky elevator, and boom, into the ice ruins we go. Ice ruins, more like white balance ruins. It also do the lighting in here? My eyeballs are freezing just looking at it. Someone crank up the heat lamp, much better. The dungeon's gimmick is a massive elevator that moves between floors. Almost immediately, we snag the boss key. Nice. Then, it's back upstairs to grab a small key and encounter some adorable penguins. Naturally, we slaughter them in cold blood. Adorable and disposable. The stamina scroll shows up just in time to remind me I don't have time for this nonsense. The mid-boss? More penguins. Listen, if I wanted to go full Happy Feet Massacre mode, I'd do it myself. This dungeon is a time-sucking slog of moving platforms, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I spent 20 minutes running in circles, waiting for these slow-ass platforms to line up. Absolutely torturous. Eventually, we make it to the boss. Some demon thing I can't even muster the energy to care about. Fire Rod. Smack it. Done. With the demon roasted, we free Rosso, the last of the 7 sages. They unite together to give us the MacGuffin of the Zelda series, the Triforce of Courage, tying all the chaos together, climbing the stairs to claim it. I stop to chat with Irene, the only NPC I care about, and she just says come back safely. Thanks for the emotional depth, Irene. Finally, we grab the Triforce. One goal left. It's Yuga slaying time. Before that though, let's grab some blue potions, because blue has the most antioxidants. Hilda tells us we're just in time, as Yuga has broken free from her grasp, and she removes the barrier from the entrance for us. This is where the game starts to actually get somewhat challenging. First up, a chain ball guy, but his ball is on fire, because why not? First, we hit the bomb room to show off our bomb making skills, and face off against the green and purple boss. Thanks, Doc. After that, we're up against more sentient tiles, followed by some classic jellyfishing action. Then, we grab a key and head upstairs to the 4th floor. We clear the 2 rooms and enter Hilda's chamber, and there's broken plates and papers all over the place. Something bad definitely went down here. We go through the teleporter to heal up, because this is definitely gonna be a fight of epic proportions. We make our way to the throne room, and suddenly the music cuts out. Hilda asks if we have the Triforce of Courage, and of course we do. She wants to share a story of how Lorule fell into its current hell on Earth. Her family destroyed the Triforce because it was causing non-stop wars, and now chaos reigns. She said she needs our Triforce to save her kingdom. The music here is intense, eerie, like the soundtrack is trying to make us feel guilty for not already handing it over. Hilda steals the Triforce of Wisdom to summon Yuga from the gates of hell. He does a funny scream as he shows up, looking like he's ready to launch his own world tour. Yuga teleports around, and while I can tank the damage pretty easily, you can use this sword to bounce off him and avoid his swings. Time to drink some blue potions, because that stuff has the most antioxidants. Hilda tells Yuga to give it to her, and he does. He turns her into a painting and steals the Triforce of Wisdom, turning him into the rock star version of himself. Seriously, he looks like he's about to perform at a Kiss concert. Let's rock, Yuga. I finally land a hit and he emerges into the wall. Zelda gives us the light arrows to shoot him in his giant pig asshole, as is Zelda's tradition. The music here is so good it can make a grown man cry. We merge in and out of the wall, shooting light arrows into him and bonking him with our sword. Time for another round of YouTube Poop tennis. But this time, Yuga tries charging at us, but we just shoot him in the butt again when he stops short. Now he shoots 2 balls at us at once. I'm already struggling with one. I swear to God, this latency with the emulator, I mean real 3DS system. Miyamoto, please don't hurt my family. Dear God. Yuga goes back into the wall. One final shot finishes him for good. We free Zelda and she's still as cute as ever. She gives us a smile, but Hilda is still alive. Oh no. Zelda tries her best to talk no jutsu, but it doesn't quite work. And just when we think it's all over for her, Ravio swoops in and takes off his rabbit mask. It turns out he's the Link of Lorule, and god damn he is also adorable. That's one rabbit I'd love to breed it. How he got to this dimension, I have no idea. But anyway, he talks Hilda down to be reasonable. Hilda apologizes and said that Zelda is very lucky to have a hero like Markiplier. Exactly my thoughts, Hilda. Ravio takes us to the Sacred Realm and shows us the tablet that'll send us home. We give her the bracelet Ravio gave us. Ravio shakes our hand and says our courage rubbed off on him. This is where you insert the subtle gay twink sex joke. It cuts to me and Zelda in the Sacred Realm of Hyrule. We approach the Triforce in all its triangular glory. We touch it together and wish for Lorule to be restored. The tablet breaks and that's the end of the game. It was an amazing nostalgic journey for me. Playing through A Link Between Worlds felt like visiting an old friend. One that occasionally stabs you with fireballs and demands precision timing. But still, an old friend nonetheless. The game perfectly balanced classic Zelda mechanics with fresh new twists, making the adventure both familiar and exciting. From the serene beauty of Hyrule to the chaotic, cursed landscape of Lorule, every step felt meaningful. So, after many dungeons, countless puzzles, and more bad jokes than Yuga has weird pig faces, our adventure finally comes to a close. Thanks for coming along this journey. Until the next chaotic quest, stay weird, stay adventurous, and remember, if someone tells you to give it to them, maybe ask for clarification first. And if you haven't yet, check out the other faulty breakdowns.